Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my Aquariuses. This is going to be your September 2025 reading. This, of course, is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Definitely those intuitively guided. You may be in love with an Aquarius, platonically, romantically. Just keep in mind that your spirit guides know that who I read through. I'm just a messenger for you. Um, so keep that in mind that, they know you're here. Um, what else did I want to say? Oh, we're doing things a little differently this month. Many of you probably already know this. Unless you're new. If you're new, welcome. Well, welcome to everyone. We're doing opposite signs again. I haven't done your opposite yet, but I'll be doing it after yours. And this month, we're going straight to our spirit guides and we are asking six specific questions. And I'm going to tell you what they are real quick. Number one, is anything blocking you or your growth? And if so, in what area? Number two, what do your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? Number three, how will your love life look like in the month of September moving forward? Now, doesn't have to mean you're interested in love, but that sometimes doesn't stop it. Number four, what lessons from the past are helping you right now? Such an important question because this is your history. When you think of the world right now, there's a lot of history repeating itself. And I just find it amazing that many aren't recognizing that. But our own history, we can learn so much from. So this is an important question. Number five is if single or interested in love. So now interested in love. What type of person is crossing your path? So what type of person will you be crossing paths with? Um, and when I do love, I'm really am looking for like soulmate, someone that you potentially can spend the rest of your life with. Because I feel like if you want short little romances, you can just go find them. But anyway, last but not least, what energy is called for you in the month of September moving forward? So, what energies will best help you in any area and all areas of your life? So, those are the questions. We're going to use the crystal vision, the cosmic tarot, and the gilded tarot to answer those questions. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading, any special messages. And I have to tell you, they always relate back to the reading, always. And then we're going to also use the major arcanas. These, I mean, they're part of the reading, but we're going to use these right after Mother Mary. And I use these more for like bullet points. But boy, they tell their own story at the same time. But they also always relate back to the reading. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. One more thing though, I do want to say this is something new that I just found out was available. It's called hyping. Um, Probably many of you already knew about it, but I just found out about it. So this is a great way of helping your creator. There's a lot of things on YouTube I feel is very unnecessary, but helping the creator grow without someone having to spend money or what have you, I feel like is a great, great tool. So if you enjoyed the video, if it resonated, please consider hyping it if you so choose. And I'm leaving that with you. So let's go ahead and let's get into your reading, Aquarius. By the way, give my brother a shout out, Mike, who he crossed over in 2014. But his birthday is January 24th. And I always feel like I'm forgetting someone. but I can't think of who. All right, let's go ahead and start with Mother Mary. Let's bring the lid down. Mother Mary, any messages for Aquarius and those intuitively guided? You know, don't forget that you can certainly ask your guides to send you signs of confirmation through this reading or throughout the reading. I feel like they'll do it anyway, but you can ask them to make it very clear. You should feel this reading like it's a soul to soul reading. So you really should feel it. All right, Mother Mary. I feel like Mother Mary wanted me to say that. Hmm. Okay. We got two. Interesting. Marriage. I make a commitment to a healthy relationship with God, myself, and my partner. And then interesting, we get devotion. As I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God, I am clear about what to do next. So there could be some questions around a marriage. I get this feeling, I get this feeling that there may be some, I'm going to say not just marriages, but let's just say relationships that I have a feeling can be, I don't know if saved is too strong of a word, but I do feel like both have to be willing. And if one's not willing, to like commit, like maybe to their values, then you may be asking what to do next. So, and that's just a small message, it's going to relate to different people in different way, but someone's guide definitely whispered that in my ear. So let's put these right here and let's bring in the major arcanas. Really one of my favorite parts of the reading. I mean, it's funny. Someone left a comment and said, "Your readings always blow me away." And I wrote back and I said, "You know what? To this day, they still blow me away. And when they stop blowing me away, that may be the day, that may be it. I don't know." Um, I don't look at the cards. Everything is pre-shuffled for at least 15 minutes. I don't want to know what cards are coming out. I want to see them when you see them. Maybe that's why I get so excited. All right, we have the tower, and then interesting judgment, who is looking right over at that tower. So the tower means there was some type of disruption. I often feel when I see this image like someone has fallen from grace. But then judgment is your spiritual team. And, they're calling you to the present moment. When you see judgment, think of a rebirth. So this rebirth is happening after hour. Maybe there's something I learned in that tower, something that becomes valuable moving forward. Because I get the sense that although the tower may have been hard, I'm getting the sense that there were like true lessons within it that, number one, I feel like you probably won't repeat. So if this has anything doing with another, I have a feeling like you're learning to read energy, and therefore, you know, let's just say anyone coming in or anything coming towards you that is of a negative nature, I feel it's going to be very clear. And it's interesting how I said, don't be afraid to ask your guides to make your signs very clear. And then here comes your spiritual team. So, calling you to the present moment, whatever the tower was, I feel like we've got to let that be the past now because there's about to be a rebirth. So, I think I want to see if anything else wants to come out because something is happening in the present moment that honestly I feel is going to change your life. But it doesn't have to mean all areas. Beautiful. The full. You're doing exactly what your spiritual team is asking you to do. The full lives in the present moment. And what else is interesting is, the fool carries that little knapsack. Well, that to me is the wisdom of the fool's experiences. And that's all I need. I extracted the wisdom. The rest I'm going to leave behind. The fool's about taking a leap of faith. So in a way, it's like trusting your spiritual team. It's like you're hearing their call. And then, wow, beautiful temperance. So temperance has a couple different messages. Her first message is about patience, but then it's also about trusting in divine timing. Well, I feel like the days of patience are over because judgment is calling you to the here and now. So to me, that means something of divine timing is now opening up. And what I love about this image is you can see her mixing the loving waters of these two cups, and I often relate this to like soulmates. And she wants to make sure that each cup is equally filled. It's mirroring the tower. So I feel like whatever the tower was, it definitely feels like something you can overcome. It could have been like someone eclipsed out of your life. And I'm not going to say it was easy, but you may start to realize, like, wait a minute. If I'm being truthful with myself, my life feels a little easier. Like, I'm not going to keep thinking about, let's put it a different way. Temperance asks you to hand over the things that you just know are outside of your control. She asks you not to try to control them. Put them in divine's hands. It's like saying a prayer or affirmations. You're definitely being called to the present moment, Aquarius, right now, right here. But all in divine's timing, which again is now. So interesting. The Fool, am I going to take a leap of faith? I hope you do. I don't know towards what yet, but with temperance behind the Fool and judgment in front of the Fool, I mean, hello, divine energy. Hello, divine protection. Almost like it's saying for some, like it's free to, or what's the word I want to use? It's safe to love again. And if this has anything to do with love, where maybe again someone fell from grace, sometimes people are eclipsed out of our life, even if they're soulmates. Soulmates have many different purposes. Some soulmates come in just for a moment. We teach each other, and some of these lessons are difficult. But really, the strongest of souls can handle it. And for some reason, I feel that the ones who come to the readings, I feel many of you are wise old souls, Maybe you haven't recognized that yet, but I have a feeling you're about to. So this is beautiful energy. If I could just get rid of that tower, but in a way, getting rid of that tower may get rid of some valuable lessons, right? Because the fool is not going to repeat that, right? Have the wisdom. Okay, we're going to pick these up mainly just so I have room, but I won't forget that they're here. So this is a great time before we get into the questions of just calming your mind. Let go of control. Breathe in the light and exhale the dark. Okay. Number one, is anything blocking you or your growth? And if so, in what area? What areas? King of Pentacles. Interesting. I just did a podcast, literally just released it right before this reading. The King and Queen of Pentacles in love. So it's interesting he shows up. But let's see what comes above him. Can represent Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. We have the Five of Cups. And then look at this, Temperance. So here's Temperance again. And what did we just literally see her do? Mix the loving waters of these two cups. Wow. The Five of Cups. This is where my focus is on what I have lost, the things that have gone wrong, of an emotional nature. This is a 5, so it does ask you to consider what you're focusing on and consider changing it. Why? Because there are 2 cups to sit behind this change. Can't really see it here, but trust me, there are 2 cups. You usually see it behind the person, and they don't really know that those 2 cups exist, so to speak. But they're about to find out if they're willing to change their focus from the past to the present. Even if, let's say, because Temperance, again, I feel like has your back as it probably in all areas, but as is related to love. So it's like she is getting these soulmates ready. I just can't help but say that word. And the King of Pentacles. Wow. Oops, I just swapped out Temperances. Double Sagittarius, by the way. So anytime you see a 5, think a change. That's what it's asking for. It is asking for graceful change, but listen, change can be hard. This King of Pentacles, something makes me feel like he's someone of your past, but I'm not getting like a runaway type of energy. Let's talk about what this king stands for. This king stands for loyalty, being grounded, stability. I have to feel the King of Pentacles is someone who is good with money. And let's just say that this king is someone that you were with, but wasn't showing you any of that. That may be the change. That may mean that there is someone on the horizon. But I get this feeling for some of you, this king is someone of your past. I don't feel like it's a king that treated you badly. I just get this feeling that I know the king. I may not have been in love with the king. By the way, when I say I, it's because I'm you right now. I'm just taking on your energy. All right. Well, we may come back and look at that king, but I have a feeling it'll be revealed. So let's go to the next question. What do your guides want you to know right now and why? And don't forget, judgment was calling you to the here and now. We have the Seven of Wands. This is about standing your ground. Look at that. Temperance again. Hello, divine timing in 3 different areas. And then the Queen of Cups. It's almost like your spiritual team is saying, put your cup out there. Put your cup in front of you, not behind you. Like, I feel like divine is saying, we want to fill that cup. Hmm. I also feel like what this is saying is, I'm not trying to make this a love reading. But I have to give you what comes to me. Um, but I do feel like this is also about, because I feel like you're the Queen of Cups, male or female. And I just get this sense that your cup hasn't been completely filled. It doesn't mean that you haven't been in love. You have been. But something tells me that your cup hasn't been filled in a way that, I don't know, with temperance everywhere, probably that you've ever had, it probably something you've never experienced yet. So, Seven of Wands sitting next to this King of Pentacles, standing your ground, marriage and devotion from Mother Mary, but yet this energy of standing your ground, I get this sense that some of you may be in a current relationship and things may not be going well. But I get this sense. First of all, let me say this. I feel like your guides are saying, be careful not to close down your heart. Because this is why I feel the cup is in front of the queen. Like, don't close down your heart because someone else, when you think of the King of Pentacles, let's say, especially next to an aggressive card, this may talk about someone who was unable to express their emotions, someone who could have gone quiet on you. And if that's the case, I would say, well, how long do I accept that? The truth is, not long at all. But the human part of us, it can be years. This change of the Five of Cups, it has to be you, right? Because what it's saying is you're focusing on, and I know this is not for everyone, but the focus is more on cups that have been knocked over. And I'm not thinking about the potential of my tomorrow. Well, divine is. Divine is. So stand your ground. Keep your heart open. Stay that loving, nurturing person that you are. And, Aquarius, you remind me very much of myself, Virgo. I know some people don't like that. But, where we tend to go into solitude with no problem. Like, I have no problem in solitude. Matter of fact, that's where some of my best ideas come from. But I feel this type of solitude is more of like removing myself from the emotional world. All right. So let's talk about love. Let's talk about love, baby. How will my love life be and look like in the month of September moving forward? Hierophant. Number one's Taurus. It's another five. So this five wants you to question morals. Am I living, let's say, if there's anything to do with love, like do they have similar morals or are our morals just too different? This is about your beliefs. I feel like this is about living life the way that you see it. But this is of the light. This is, I feel like, your spirituality. It can mean religion, but I feel this is more about you questioning yourself. Like instead of closing your heart down, what I would say is, well, if I fall in love again, the one thing I want to make sure first, and maybe that's a clue, I want to make sure first that our morals align, that we have the same goals in mind. Doesn't mean the goals have to be exactly the same. It's just that we both know, chances are that we're both looking for something lasting. But questioning the morals, questioning it, I don't think you need to question another person's morals. I feel like you'll just see it. We have interesting, the Four of Cups. I say interesting because the Four of Cups talks about discontentment, or boredom in one's emotional world. And although you can't see it here, there's usually a cup that is coming in and it's coming from the hand of divine. And by the way, it's sitting right next to divine timing. Like everything feels like it's in divine timing now. Almost like this is your time. So, this discontentment and boredom within one's emotional world. A cup is being offered, and we're looking at love. So, the meaning of this card is learning to use your spiritual discernment. That's your protector. That's how you know. And remember how we saw the tower? Well, let's say they were previous lovers, so to speak. There are different levels of love. And sometimes we do have to kiss a lot of frogs to find our ultimate prince or princess, queen or queen, king or queen. Look at that, the tower. So that tower was no mistake. That tower was not a mistake. It was divine. You know what I feel like probably happened? Resistance probably became so much that it almost forced a change. But there's a reason. It's like when I see the Ten of Wands, I often feel like someone is wishing for a tower. Sometimes these towers help us do the things that we ourselves, our human selves, have a hard time doing. And I have to say, with the tower mirroring the Four of Cups, something you may want to ask yourself is if there is someone, let's just say, that has you like on the hooks, is here and then not here. I feel like there is a difference within morals, um, difference in the way that you love. But now you know that. Now you know that. You know, this Hierophant is about to give a blessing. So this blessing is over love. We're asking about love. Then we also get the Four of Cups, discontentment and boredom. Well, that makes sense because at this moment it's mirroring the Five of Cups. But don't forget, Four of Cups means a cup is coming in. Okay, well, let's continue. And I think I'm going to come back and look a little deeper at a few of these, but let's continue. So, what lessons from the past are helping you right now? Interesting. The Five of Wands drama. You know what I feel like this is saying? Maybe before, especially with the Seven of Wands also here, where it talks about standing one's ground, but it is like you're fighting off like these attacks in the Seven of Wands. Well, the Five of Wands is definitely drama, it's ego, it's fighting, and it's another five. So we saw temperance three times, and we now have three fives. Five of Wands, it asks you to try not to get pulled into this drama. You know, it can be playful, playful, what's the word, a competition. But honestly, I don't feel that. But that is one of the meanings. That's not what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling playfulness. Not at this moment. I'm feeling the opposite. Standing your ground, I feel like to a point. Because in the Five of Wands, I'm telling you, no one backs down in that energy. And I often feel like the only way not to get pulled into it is to leave it or to rise above it. You know, a lot of times you'll see the Queen of Pentacles who's rising above all these or I'm sorry, the Queen of Wands who's rising above all these wands. That's exactly what I feel like. Rise above it. Don't get pulled into it. Someone feels like they have played some mind games, and I feel like it must be driving you crazy. Or some of you have already been through this and you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's go above it. The Ace of Pentacles. Something's coming into your physical world. This really is a blessing. The Ace of Pentacles, you know, it comes in as a seed and it needs your nurturing for it to grow and blossom. But it means something's coming into your physical world. It's tangible, touchable. Sitting next to the Four of Cups, maybe even kissable. And then the Five of Wands. Holy fives. So, I'm sorry, the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles is that tower. Sometimes it's something that happens outside of our control. You know, I can't help all of a sudden think this king might be playing some mind games, might have like, you know, like communicates and then goes silent. That drives me crazy. It drives me crazy for you because I know what that feels like. And you know, sometimes I feel like we just simply need to put our cards on the table and say, listen, you either love me or you don't. You're either going to raise your vibration or you're not. But if you're not, I got to go. I got to go. Tower. Although it may not have felt like a blessing, it was. And I felt like the Five of Pentacles is representing, because remember, we're asking about how is your past helping you? I feel like what it's saying is, for some of you, you're learning how to, what's the word I want to use? Make changes, not accept less than. Some of you, you're finding your own value, which is a beautiful thing. Like you're shining your own light. Don't let anybody else dim that light. So your past is really teaching you about changes. And for some of you, I feel like, again, maybe it is laying the cards on the table. Instead of playing someone's mind game, it's like, no, I'm going to take that power away from them. And I'm simply going to say, do you want to be in love with me? And are you willing and able to be what I need? And if there's hesitation, hang up the phone. Because I feel like I know that a cup is coming in. And I know that your morals match. Where with this king, there's a lot of aggression or fighting or drama, ego. So I feel like your spiritual team was just helping you as it relates to the tower. And some may say, how could a tower help me? Well, sometimes we become so resistant to change. But listen, maybe your soul, because again, with temperance here so much, and this is where it is speaking of love. I'm not even going to question that. I know it's speaking of love. Look at the type of love, right? Someone who is very much like you. Doesn't mean you're exactly the same. That would be boring. But your morals, even your spirituality, like, I'm sorry, King, but I feel like this is someone who, which, would make sense, but lives a very earthly life. And what I mean by that is I don't feel like they take in consideration their spirituality at all. Where I feel like you are. You're growing leaps and bounds. That's why the Fool is here. But boy, Aquarius, I see it has not been easy. And when I see readings like this, I know that 99.9% of you are old souls. You've been here before. These challenges that you have, your soul wanted. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I feel that is the case. Like the strongest of souls sometimes ask for the hardest of lessons. Why? Because that's what this lifetime is about. Growing, learning, experiencing, adventure. I often say, like, if this is your book, how do you want your book to look? I fell in love, probably not with the right person, and I waited, and I waited. The end. Well, or I fell in love with someone, didn't know how to love. I don't want to teach them. I'm not their teacher. So I had to go. I am learning to accept what truly is meant for me, especially as I grow spiritually. I understand that these hooks that can be put in me by people in lower vibrational energy, I have the power to remove that. I have the power to remove your hooks. I just have to do it. Okay. If single or interested in love, what type of person is crossing your path? And again, you're crossing each other's paths. Well, hello, Ten of Pentacles. How about abundant? How about hardworking? To me, this is the house of abundance, the house of loyalty. And I find that interesting because every card we get is making me look a little harder at this king. And not in a good light. I feel like this king is just going to be that king. And that's that. I feel like I'm dealing with someone who, if I said, you should consider, he'd be like, well, what are you talking about? This is the way I choose to live my life. Okay. Well, then you go ahead and choose that. But I'm not going to be part of it. Look at this. For some of you, I also get this sense that when you remove these hooks, let's say, just lower vibrational hooks, I get a sense that you're going to start receiving like epiphanies and ideas where you can make money, great money, like money where you can take care of you. And if you have a family and your family. But remember, this is about who's crossing your path. So this is a very strong energy. But I often feel it's a house of loyalty. The Emperor, father figure, the one that we can look up to. It is the card of Aries, but for some of you, it may be Aries, but I feel it's more about the person. The Emperor is the leader of the people. How interesting. Completely opposite than this king right now. I'm not saying the King of Pentacles can't be the leader of the people, but I don't feel like this king is. The Emperor is someone who has gone through a lot of experiences themselves and has overcome. And this is where I teach from empathy and compassion. This emperor is methodical. So this could be someone where, you may notice like notebooks of ideas and plans. They care about their fellow man and woman. And by the way, I also love this for you because I feel for some of you, it's like you are the boss. You become the leader. I definitely feel this sense of being able to take care of yourself, but I feel like the mind needed to be cleared. There was just too much on my mind. But then once I eliminate that, it's like my mind, my heart is free and clear. Well, hello, epiphanies. Just like the emperor. And that's probably it. You're probably very like-minded. Let's see what comes underneath it. Well, Seven of Pentacles. I was thinking, are we getting the Emperor or the Empress next? But the Seven of Pentacles is just as good because this is your tree of life. Again, temperance here so much. Mixing the loving waters of those two cups. Seven of Pentacles tells you that everything on this tree, those were your soul seeds of intention. Some you're just planting. Remember, we just got the Ace of Pentacles. But some are coming to fruition. Again, the Ace of Pentacles now showing. Right next to the Emperor. It does signify that everything in your life, except for free will, I don't want to say was made to happen because free will, like moment by moment, we're making decisions about our lives. Moment by moment. determine the direction of our lives. But it does, to me, represent what you have learned. And then now a seed coming to fruition. Seven of Pentacles has the same message Temperance has. Patience. Why? Well, because the seed was just planted. And now I need to nurture it, make sure it gets enough sun. But I feel like you've already been doing that. That tells me this person, this person we can look up to. And I also want to add, if you have like your own family, they may have their own family. In the Ten of Pentacles, it would be a beautiful blending of family. We would care about each other's children as our own. Not crossing lines, but, and boy, that Emperor can make money. So I'm not surprised to see that Ten of Pentacles, but you can also make money. And interesting, because what am I asking about love? Look at the Seven of Pentacles mirroring Temperance. Temperance right from the get-go, right back here. Trust in divine timing. A seed will come to fruition. Here's that seed. Here is the energy where it tells you it was meant to be. It doesn't guarantee you that you'll say yes. That's why we got to go back and look like, okay, how can I better assure myself that I won't be fearful? It's the clarity. It's simply asking, like someone that I've given a lot of attention to, where were their morals? And I feel like someone's going to say, you know what? Even if this person would have made a true, full commitment to me, and I'm talking the past, I still don't feel like, if I'm being honest, I feel like it would have been a relationship filled with issues. Truly feels like your spiritual team is just trying to protect you, just trying to usher in the best for you. But you also have to know you deserve that. You have to be willing to clear those hooks, let go of the past, extract the wisdom. Judgment came out, right? Calling you to the present moment. And then the Fool shows up. That's exactly what the Fool does. So it's like you're hearing Judgment's call. All right. Last but not least, I say last but not least, but we still have a lot more reading to do. What energy is called for you in the month of September moving forward? Hello, Sun. Positivity. Playfulness. Boy, it feels like night and day. The sun's your illuminator. So your intuition will be illuminated. That should erase fear. But I love the energy of the playfulness I feel in this energy. Carefree. Doesn't mean I don't have any problems. It just means I'm not going to sit here and worry about the things I cannot control. That's exactly what Temperance's message is. Hand them over to me. Let the sun warm your heart. Trust the sun in its ability to illuminate your signs. I can't help but notice all those sunflowers, and I have a feeling sunflowers mean something to someone. So I'm going to put that out there. And I apologize. I don't know if I've been giving signs, but the sun is also a card of Leo. Beautiful energy. I just love this image. Number one, this white horse, purity, truth, honesty, beautiful sunflowers. Look at how they're just growing from the sun's love and light. Optimism. I feel like a great motto this month, and maybe every month, I expect good things to happen, and they do. I expect good things to happen, and they do. Especially when you've cleared the old. Expect good things. You know, if nothing else, I'm seeing your spiritual growth. And I don't feel like it was easy. And I can relate, trust me. But nonetheless, you did it anyway. And I feel you need to be very proud of yourself. Like, if no one else is recognizing like your growth, know that your spiritual team is and recognize it for yourself. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder or a pat on the back or the shoulder. Well, there's our Queen of Wands. So interesting, I was speaking about her. So this is, let me explain who she is, because I feel like this is the majority of you. I know it's a different sign, but I still feel it's a majority of you. So number one, I feel like this is someone who is rising above any drama. You know, it's like saying, I don't want this drama in my life anymore. I've had it. Done. Interesting, I noticed that the queen has a crown on, and so does the emperor. Like-minded. So this queen, she's not a fear-based energy. She moves according to what she feels passionate about, he or she. Like, what ignites the passion within me? That's what I'm going to follow. You know, when I see the queen, I often think of the page of wands, who I call my risk taker. And I call him my risk taker because the page of wands is learning that I am going to fall, right? I'm going to try, but not everything's going to be successful. But I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to get back up and get on that horse again. I'm going to follow my passions and think about it later. It's literally a different way of looking at your life. Wow. Destiny. I mean, I already knew it with the Seven of Pentacles, but now it's showing you. This is your destiny. No wonder Temperance is here so much. No wonder Judgment was pointing at that tower. Let me show you what I mean. Like when these came out. Let me see if I can do this right. Judgment is blowing that trumpet right at the tower. That was then. Judgment says, this is about what's next, what's new. The Fool is like, I'm up for the journey. Remember, the Fool's not carrying the past. Not that you forget the past. You've gained the wisdom of your past. And you're doing exactly what your spiritual team is asking. And then Temperance comes in. There's those loving waters again. I mean, did Temperance want to be known in your reading Absolutely. Okay. Hmm. I just realized the wheel is mirroring temperance. So trusting in divine timing, that's really temperance's message. It is patience first. But don't forget, sometimes divine is having patience with us, especially mirroring the Five of Cups. Like we have to be the change that we want. If someone is not giving me what I need, then sometimes that is just your answer. But don't think because one person didn't give you the love you deserve that there's not someone who can't. I mean, please don't think that. And I feel it. All of a sudden, I can feel some of you saying, I have no interest in love. And that's fine, right? Because this Ten of Pentacles, it's really you building it. The sun is illuminating not just your intuition, but your creativity, the will. So even let's say if we take love out of the picture, this Ace of Pentacles is still coming in. And it is used for whatever you want to use it on. Whatever you focus on is what you're going to grow. I still think love is going to show, but you can say no, right? That's free will. And your spiritual team knows that. They know they cannot come between you and your free will. But boy, will they try to illuminate a path or give you some type of feeling to know that it can and will be better. All right, let's look at the bottom of the decks. Look at that. The Nine of Cups, someone's becoming single or already has. That's the first thing I usually feel in the Nine of Cups, and I do feel that. Now, not everyone. This is inner harmony, though. This is finding that inner harmony. And boy, do I feel like that changes everything for you. This is also about fulfillment of wishes. Even those wishes we didn't even know we had. This is loving life again. It's not the promise that everything is perfect. But I feel like your growth is what brings you this inner harmony. And it's mirroring the wheel. It's like your spiritual team is saying, you're meant to be happy. And no, our lives, it's not just one big happy time in this lifetime. There are many lessons, many opportunities to have growth. And I feel like you're finding them, learning from them, and evolving from them. We have the Queen of Swords mirroring the sun. Well, remember I said, I feel like for some, you just need to put your cards on the table. If you're dealing with anyone who's here and there and here and there, you know what I mean? Who's keeping you in a state of confusion, let's say. Queen of Swords, speaking your truth. Sometimes you'll see that queen where she has her sword raised, she's speaking her truth, and then you'll see it literally looks like she's doing a mic drop. Like, these are my final words. She's sitting right next to this king. Now, that doesn't have to mean every king of pentacles is not good. I feel like it's more about the energy here. Like, Is someone loyal? Is someone playing games with me? Do they even know how to love? Are they more about themselves? You know what I mean? And as you grow spiritually, you know the difference. So I definitely feel this is you laying your cards on the table one last time. Well, no wonder. 10 of swords. The first thing I want to say, I hate this image. But the first thing I want to say, this tells me that you tried. This tells me that you have given your all. But this also tells me this may be a repeat pattern. You may have given this person more chances than they deserve. In the Ten of Swords, it is like saying, I expect a dagger, and a dagger comes. Look at that, the Nine of Swords over that or under that. You know, I feel like what this is saying, someone is keeping you in this state of worry, state of uncertainty. And normally, this Nine of Swords is a card that speaks of unnecessary worry. But here's the thing with the Ten of Swords above it. I just feel like I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I feel sad. I feel confused. I don't know what to do. I would tell yourself that if you tried and it's still not working, no more chances. Like someone doesn't need more than 3 chances, let's say. 2 chances. Like I feel like, giving someone a second chance, not a bad idea. But if it turns into a third and a fourth, you've got to pay attention to that energy because it will come down to you either just understanding it and letting it go. I see no reason to take this person's bullshit. And I know some of you may be interested in a King of Wands or a King of Pentacles. Interesting how I keep messing up the names. Um, So that's why I'm saying, like, don't think that this has to be an earth sign. Just like with the Hierophant, it's earth, right? It's Taurus. But I often just read it more of spirituality, change, growth. All right. Um, I don't know why lately I've been pulling from the very back. I'm going to use, of course, I cannot remember the name. Um, Boy, I want to say the Universal Tarot, but I don't think that's right. Anyways, we're going to use these just to do a little bit of clarifying, and then we're going to move on to the clarifying love situation and then the romance angels. Let's give them one more shuffle. Perfect. Let's give them a cut. And the reason why I always cut my decks, any new deck into a reading, is to introduce them into the existing reading. All right, just let me change my position. I've been sitting on my leg and now it's numb. All right. I feel like we have to start with this king. Just anything else. King of Wands. Queen of Wands right there. King of Wands is looking right at the King of Pentacles. Makes me feel like there's someone very like-minded who knows about this king. We have the World and we have the Nine of Cups. Interesting. Now, do I feel like the King of Pentacles is connected to the next chapter? Because that's exactly what this means. The World. First, it talks about completion. So I feel like it's saying the time with this King of Pentacles has come to completion. But it's a promise of a brand new chapter opening up in your life. This is the Fool, ready to take that leap of faith. And then look what comes out with it. The Nine of Cups, that inner harmony. So the letting go of that king is what brings inner harmony back to you. And this King of Wands, I feel like, is the Emperor connected with the Queen of Wands. I feel like this is someone you have yet to meet, or you've met them but yet to be in love with. Because this king is looking at that king, at the other king, like, get out of my way. You're in my place. Okay? I accept that. What else do I want to look at? I hope you don't miss this, because I know not everyone stays to the end. But I feel like the end is where our silver lining lies. Your destiny that has a sun right above it. 10 of Pentacles right next to it. 7 of Pentacles, what was meant to be. What sits on your wheel. And it's timing. Temperance has been all about your divine timing. This Ace of Pentacles to me represents the time. And not only that, the energy that it brings in the energy of abundance. And again, this ace doesn't have to be just for money, though I could see you using it in that way. Or what I mean is making money from what you do. But I also feel like this is about bringing, well, what feels like your soulmate into your life. Ready or not, here I come. But I feel like you are ready over here. I feel like you are ready. Doesn't mean you'll say yes automatically. But you know what? Let someone woo you. Let someone romance you. And as that's happening, you're going to know more and more about this person. I feel like we need to give people time to reveal who they are. Let's say they go on a date and they go to a restaurant. And let's say the waiter got their order wrong. Well, I feel like this king would be like, what the fuck? You got my order wrong. I'll be damned if I'm giving you a tip. Where this person, I feel like, would do the opposite. Like, oh, I can see how busy you are. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're fine. It's a difference of perspective. It's a difference of energy. Wow. Look at that. The King of Pentacles again. I don't even know what I was looking at. So I think what I'm going to do is just put him right there. and follow that and let that be the final messages for the spread, but then we'll continue on. Three of Swords. That may be why I said someone may have given someone three chances. Like three chances, you're out. Three strikes, you're out of here. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. You know, it just is what it is. Like, I don't know what else I can say about that. Well, I feel like the one thing I can say is I don't feel there will be changes. I just don't. I feel like this person is too egotistical. Like my way or the highway. Well, I feel like you're choosing the highway now, where before you were living in their way, but their way is dark and gloomy and is doing nothing for you. And it's not filling your cup at all. So it's like one more statement of what was, or for some of you, what is, but the opportunity to now let it go. And I know that's not easy, but I feel like when you really look at the truth, your truth, and you demand self respect, I just don't feel like this king has a leg to stand on. So I'm getting rid of that. I accept it. All right. Let's bring out the clarifying love situations. Let's see what they have to say. Okay. Start with the first one. And by the way, there's two messages on this card, so you want to look at the way it comes out. So yours came out with shards of love. Past trauma leaves scars. Take time to heal yourself. That's interesting because I did Cancer's reading right before yours, and I titled their reading when the scar becomes easier than the boulder. And I know not everyone was going to know what I was talking about, but that just felt like the right title. So it's interesting that it's saying this past trauma leaves scars. Take time to heal yourself. I have scars on my body, and I can tell you some great stories about how I got those scars. You know what I mean? And as I got those scars, it was difficult. It was hard. It hurt. But now there's a story. All right. Unexpected joys. Life's surprises are gifts, opening doors to unforeseen adventures. Aquarius, let me read that again. Unexpected joys. Life's surprises are gifts, opening doors to unforeseen adventures. Well, you want to talk about an adventure, but how beautiful this adventure is. Destined, the sun is out. That means playfulness, joy, kid-like, unencumbered, free-flowing, but the stability of the Ten of Pentacles with it. And then the Emperor, someone that I can look up to, not look down at, up to. Why? Because this person has been through hell and has learned how to evolve out of it. And then the Queen of Wands, who I feel is you, and I feel it's you being willing to take this adventure. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I know not all of you are going to see it in that way. And I know sometimes I get too excited in a reading, but that's because I want you to have the best that life offers. But without taking chances, I don't know. All right, let's bring in the romance angels and then we shall let this be. Let's give them a cut and a shuffle. How quickly can these changes start to happen? I really feel like it's up to you. I feel like when you lay your cards on the table for whatever situation, you speak your truth, you say no more to certain energy, then that change is just naturally going to happen. But I also want you to realize that if you're here, chances are you have grown spiritually, probably leaps and bounds. It only makes sense that whatever and whoever comes in next would be of that vibration. And, maybe one of the lessons also is learning not to lower your vibration to be with another. If somebody wants to be with you and you've been working on your energy, your spirituality, then they must raise their vibration to be with you. All right. Wow. Let go of control issues. I felt that through the reading. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. There's the potential of those blended families. Allow the situation to unfold naturally. Oh, look at this. Keep an open mind. But your soulmate, which I knew, may differ from your usual type and expectations. So, in a way, I feel like it's saying keep an open mind, especially if you've dealt with a lot of people who, let's just say, have lived in lower vibrational energy. Well, then I want someone different. I want something different. But this is signifying that this is a soulmate. So again, your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. Keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. And then allow it to flow naturally. I feel like that is the exclamation point at the end of the reading. Man, I hope you guys stay till the end. Because otherwise, I could see some like, clicking off, but to each their own. But thank you for those who did stay. Anyways, I'm going to let that be. I found this as, yes, difficult, but very beautiful and very spiritual. And I feel like if you know, or let's just say, I mean, we're all on a spiritual journey, but if you recognize that, then I feel like life just becomes easier. You know, those previous challenges, when we're living a spiritual life, we can just hop right over them. Lesson learned, never to be repeated. Again, someone wants to be with you, and they need to be in your vibration and not the other way around. All right, I'm going to let that be. Thank you. I love you. Truly. So much so that my prayers go to this happening, this happening for you. But you being open to it, keep an open mind, and let go of control issues. That is really what helps you be in the Nine of Cups, finding that inner harmony. No matter what's going on around you, you can always find your inner harmony. All right, gonna let that be. I'll see you guys next time at our table. Bye bye. Look, your reading doesn't want to end.